Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here from Miss Carrie's Creations. Today I'm going to share a simple mixed media scrapbook layout with bright colors and a playful vibe. I'm working with the September Hip Kit collection, which is filled with a beautiful color combination of patterns and prints. I'm also using the stencils from the Color Kit, the September Pocket Life collection, and Embellishment Kit. I can't wait to share this project with you. Today, I am sharing a scrapbook layout using these two patterns from the September kit. I will be using this Go For It rainbow pattern and this soft blue diamond pattern. I will also be using patterns from the Pocket Life kit, which has some great pocket cards and solid designs. There is also a die available in the Hip Kit shop, and it's designed to cut out all these icons that are included in the Pocket Life kit. On my layout, I'm going to be using this crepe paper and the baker's twine. These are included in the New Day embellishment pack that comes with the main kit. This embellishment pack also has some epoxy and wood buttons that I used on my previous project. As I create the layout, I'll bring in a few additional supplies, and I'll list those in the description below, along with the link to this Hip Kit collection. For my background, I'm using the Go For It rainbow pattern. The photo was taken at a theme park, and those colors give this a whimsical feel. Behind my photo, I'm going to lay this 6x8 PL card, which has some stitching and distressing around the edges. If you're like me and struggle sewing a straight line with a machine, this random stitching is an easy alternative. I just stitch around the paper 2 or 3 times in a haphazard way, and it always looks great. On the next photo mat, I also added stitching, and I'm going to use an edge distresser on the sides. I'm just running this back and forth lightly along the paper. The harder you press the blade, the more distressing you create. I'm going to bring in this fun photo. With the ride in the background being a bright pink, I almost brought in a pink pattern for the frame. Both women are a bit sunburned after a day at the park, which I'm sure is part of the memory, so I chose blue hues for my frame. A pink color would have brought focus to the faces, but it would have also directed focus on the sunburns. Around this photo, I want to add some anchor points for my embellishments, and I'm going to create those with that pink crepe paper. With this, I'm going to create 3 little rosettes. These are just 2 layers of crepe paper that have been pleated around some circles. I use the PL die to cut out the circle shapes. The large circle was used for this one, and this little sun shape for the smaller one. If you want to make even smaller rosettes, there are other circles here that you could use. For this medium-sized rosette, I'm going to use the larger circle. There's enough crepe paper in the kit to cut 3 10¼ inch pieces. I cut each piece in half so that I had enough to create 2 sets of pleated circles. I'm going to add some adhesive to the cardstock circle. This is a temporary adhesive that will allow me to adjust the crepe paper if I make a bit of a mistake. I'm going to start with a couple of little pleats and lay them so that I have about 1/4 inch of the crepe paper hanging off the circle. I'm going to continue this pleat fold all around the circle. Try your best to keep it as even as possible, but if you make a mistake, we can fix that. I'll show you how in a moment. I can see through the crepe paper, which makes it a little easier to view the edge of the circle. It's okay if not all the pleats are even, but if that bothers you, I'll share a tip with the next layer. To finish this up, fold over this last fold and adhere it in place with liquid adhesive. For this next layer, I'm going to add some dots of glue to the circle, then create folds in my crepe paper. The glue is less forgiving, and I want these pleats to be more even, so I'm going to pre-fold this. I'm folding it like a fan fold, mountain valley, and I'm using my fingers to press the folds to create the guidelines. While I'm folding, that glue is becoming tacky, which is going to make it easier to lay the start of this layer in place. The second layer is going to sit about a 1/4 inch from the edge of the previous layer. Just like before, I'm just going to go around the circle. The pre-folded pieces make it a little easier to lay this down in an even manner, but I do have to make a few adjustments because of the size and the circle shape. As I continue to layer this onto my rosette, I would love it if you tap that subscribe button and let me know that you're new here. If you're already a subscriber, let me know that you're enjoying this project by tapping the thumbs up icon or leaving me a comment below. I would love to know if you're going to try to make some rosettes with your crepe paper from the kit. Once I get to the end, I'm going to trim off this extra piece, add some adhesive, and fold it under. If the rosette doesn't look rounded enough for you, just take your scissors and trim it up. To hide the messy centers, I have cut some circles to layer over the top. These were cut from this polka dot pattern on one of the PL cards using those circle dies. The rosettes are not perfectly centered on my backer circle because I wasn't able to lay the crepe paper in a perfect circle, but that's okay because these toppers will make them look circular again. Alright, so let's set these aside to dry a moment. While I have this PL die on my desk, I'm going to cut out the icons for my page. The cut apart tags, tabs, and labels sheet are double-sided, so you have one side with all the images, and when you flip it over, you have the images again. The die only fits on one of the sides, and you'll be able to figure out which side it is pretty easily. I'm placing this die over the top, lining everything up, then I'm using a little bit of repositionable tape to hold these in place. When this comes out of the die cutting machine, all these little pieces pop out, perfectly cut around the images. Now I want to show you how this page comes together. I'm going to start with the rosettes. These are my embellishment cluster anchors, so I want to lay those out first to create a visual triangle. Earlier, I mentioned that my layout is expected to have mixed media elements. If you followed me online, you know that I struggle with using a large amount of wet mixed media. I decided to look up the definition for mixed media. I did discover that you don't have to use layers and layers of wet mediums to have a page be considered a mixed media project. You just need to mix a combination of different materials. Alright, so while I've been chatting, the florals are almost laid out. My background paper has those arc shapes, so I built those clusters in circular shapes and I brought in a few circular die cuts. I'm to the point where I need to decide what to add next. I stepped away from the project for a few hours, and when I returned, I felt like it needed some texture. Before I added all these layers, I didn't think that I would want to add any texture paste, but the die cuts are a little flat, so I grabbed some fluffy paste. Adding wet mediums after all the layers are down always makes me feel like I should have done a better job pre-planning. Adding texture paste after you add layers isn't easy. To simplify this, I chose a small stencil from the color kit. These images are part of the layered stencil that goes with the floral stamp set in the color kit. They're designed to fill in the centers of the flowers, but to me, they look like little sunbursts. Now that my paste is almost dry, I'm going to bring in this little Let's Go flag. I'm also going to decorate the rosettes. On the larger one, I'm going to lay a cardstock and vellum star. Over the top, I'm going to add a bow that I made with the yellow and white baker's twine. I just love the texture of vellum and stitching, so these embellishments are some of my favorites from the kit. I'm going to add another star at the base of the page and a fun phrase at the top that says, "Oh my, this is going to be fun." Some of the final pieces are going to be made with those two PL icons. To be honest, I probably should have stamped these before I cut them out, so I'm just going to use a little temporary adhesive to hold them in place on my platform. I'm using the phrase "Oh wow" on the diamond and two stamps that say "the best day ever." If you're one who creates traveler's notebooks, pocket pages, or planners, these monthly PL stamps are great to have. All the icons and phrases fit on smaller pages, and almost all of them have a month stamp and seasonal icons. I'm going to lay these phrases in place. One will sit near the base of the page. Behind it, I'm going to add some flowers to frame it and finish off this area. The diamond is going to sit in the opposite corner under the circle phrase that says happy place. To bring in a third black phrase, I'm going to lay this sticker over a yellow tab that I added at the top. Then I'll bring in the title that says so excited. I chose a sticker that was similar in color to the pattern paper because I didn't want it to conflict with the 3 floral clusters. Now that the title's added, I think I need to create a little bit better flow on this layout. This little chipboard arrow at the top will start the line of flow across my layout, and the chipboard sticker chevron will finish it up. Once these are adhered down, it helps the eye flow from the blue arrow to the blue title to the chevron. Here is the completed mixed media scrapbook page I created using simple techniques. Normally, I have pre-planned my design, but as you saw, today's project didn't have much of a plan. Some days I have to let go of the perfection and just create. The page still turned out to be amazing with all those vivid colors, patterns, and prints. It gives off a playful and whimsical theme park vibe, and I love how it turned out. This layout records a memory of these two enjoying a ride at the theme park. Most of the items I used to create the layout are from the September Hip Kit collection. If you choose to become a member of the Hip Kit Club, you save 15% on any coordinating items, which can ship free with your monthly kit. So if you want to grab yourself the PL die, the color kit, or the embellishments, it's worth becoming a member. If you'd like to learn more, I have added details to the description below. I want to thank you for joining me for another scrapbook project. If you'd like to see more of my creations, you can visit my channel or follow Miss Carrie's Creations online. If you have questions about this project or the supplies listed below, feel free to leave me a comment. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.